Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brad with Spike Fitness, and today I want to do a little video here, kind of touching on something that I've been talking about for a little while now, and that's that build-up for Thor making a run at the 500 kilogram deadlift record set by Eddie Hall. There's been some exchange, kind of back and forth, and some interesting stuff that each has released. And today, Eddie Hall released a Q&A that he had done where he talked about Thor making the attempt at the 500 kg deadlift record. So go ahead and take a look at what Eddie Hall had to say.
You know what? Breaking it is breaking it. If he breaks it by a kilo or 10 kilo or 30 kilo, it doesn't matter really. If he breaks it, he breaks it. We wouldn't even be talking about the 500 kilo deadlift if it wasn't for me right now. It's been 4 years. You know, I've had the 500 kilo deadlift. No one has come close. He's doing it in his gym. Now, under the circumstances, it's tough. Because if I said 4 years ago, if I pulled 500 kilo in my gym, with, you know, my weights and my sponsors pushing it, my sponsors supplying the weights, my sponsors giving the prize money, my sponsors giving me the live stream. If I did that 4 years ago in my gym, people would call bullshit. People say it wouldn't count, referee there or not. So I do not trust the Icelandics. If they're going to say that's 501 kilo on the bar, I don't trust them. So they can say it's calibrated plates, calibrated bars. They can have the referees there. I don't trust them to do it legitly. I really do not trust them. I'm not going to count it as a world record. He's got to do it. He's got to put, you know, he's had plenty of opportunities this last 4 years. He's had 4 years telling everyone he's going to do it, and he has, you know, he's had the capabilities. Why all of a sudden it's like we're going to this pandemic and, you know, there's like nowhere to run, and now he's going to do it in his home gym? He's had plenty of opportunities. Could have done it in Dubai, you know, late on last year. He could have done it Europe's Strongest Man, the opportunity to do Giants Live. It just doesn't feel right to me. You know, why not wait till this is over? Wait till, I don't know, October, you know, when the world's ultimate strongman does the deadlift. And people can say I've been disrespectful. I don't care. If the tables were turned, if I was doing that, people would call BS. So I'm calling BS on Thor.
Now, you can certainly go back and watch the whole Q&A and get a feel for everything that Eddie had to say about it. But essentially, I think that what Eddie says here is pretty much to be expected, right? Like, I think anyone externally that has any familiarity with how things kind of have been would expect Eddie to say pretty much everything that he's saying. You know, it's understandable that Eddie would be defensive of the record. You know, it's a really big deal, and specifically that record really catapulted Eddie into being even more of a household name and, you know, popularity and, you know, stardom and whatever else. So it's understandable that Eddie would be defensive of the record. But the degree to which Eddie takes it, I think, is kind of going above and beyond into a realm that I certainly don't appreciate. You know, and I would never behave like this if circumstances were the same, where I was in that circumstance. You know, he got pretty personal with the Icelandics, talking about how he doesn't trust them, and, you know, etc. And, you know, talking about Thor, you know, could have made an attempt at this record at any point in the last 4 years. But that discounts the fact that this may not have been a priority for Thor before now. Or maybe Thor didn't feel like he was able to get to it. You know, there was a necessary build-up for him to get himself to a position where he felt like he was within striking distance. Now, 500 kilogram deadlift is not something that you're just going to stroll into your local gym and just go rip off the floor, right? It needs to be a very purposeful train-up, because it really is the benchmark for deadlift that there is. So to even be close enough to it, to feel like it's within reach, that you could train up specifically for it and get to it, is something unto itself, right? And then the specific train up to get to it is another thing altogether. And so Thor has been doing this build-up, aiming and just saying that he was going to go after this record for some time now, well before the whole pandemic, you know, outbreak and everything that's been going on socially. It's not Thor's fault that this thing came down when it came down, and what's happening socially is happening. But it's interesting that Eddie uses that as an excuse and says that, you know, Thor is basically using it as an opportunity to make it easier for him, where he can control the settings and use fake weights or, you know, whatever. And honestly, I don't know, I don't have real strong feelings about either of these individuals. I've never met them, but that's just straight fucking childish. Um, he talks about how he won't acknowledge or recognize the record if Hathor pulls it because he doesn't trust the Icelandics. And again, that's just straight childish. At the end of the day, as long as there are steps taken to ensure the transparency of the validity of the weights and everything that's going on, there's an inspection of equipment or whatever else. There's a judge. As long as those things are in place, that you could reasonably say that things are what they say they are, then and as long as the powers that be accept that as the new record, it doesn't matter what Eddie Hall thinks or what Eddie Hall is willing to accept. It is quite irrelevant. On top of that, he talked about how if things had been different, they'd been shoe on the other foot, he would have gotten chewed apart if he were trying to do the 500 kilogram deadlift in his own gym and whatever else. I think that that's also kind of a false thing. You see lifts all the time, everywhere across the world, on Instagram and social media and wherever else, that are really outstanding, that really get people excited and people are genuinely interested in. And some of those are gym lifts, garage lifts, basement lifts. So in terms of whether or not a gym lift is valid or not, or is going to get people excited, or people would look at that favorably or not, I think it's kind of silly. There are a lot of lifts that go down everywhere in the world that filter out through social media that are truly, truly impressive lifts. Now, in order for us to go through and actually say something as a world record, there needs to be some steps and some providence to be able to say that, right? And so I think that Hathor is going to do what it takes in terms of taking those steps to be able to make that call to say that his attempt is in fact an actual world record. Have a judge, transparency in the weights, etc. I think those things will be in place. So as long as those steps are in place, it is entirely irrelevant whether or not the lift takes place in his garage or in Dubai or in wherever, whatever show, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just because it's not the same venue that Eddie pulled, again, in my eyes, I think is irrelevant. I'd like to know what you guys think. Does it make any difference to you as a viewer or as a fan of sport, fan of strength, for Hathor to make his attempt at the record in his garage versus some big stage at some show somewhere in the world that you're probably not at anyway? Does one make it more relevant or more real than the other? I say no. I'd like to know what you guys think. But that's pretty much it. I also want to say there was a video that Hathor released from training where he pulls 440 for a triple. So check this out real fast. And suffice to say, with Hathor pulling that the way that he did, 440 for a triple, I mean, really making it look easy. I don't think there's any doubt in the world at this point, barring some significant issue, injury, or illness, that's going to prevent Hathor from taking this record. I think it's pretty much in the bag at this point. Only question remains: is he really going to stop at 501 and shut it down, or is he going to take a stab at something greater? Between you and me, I don't think that I could just stop at a simple chip up, especially if the numbers were moving the way that they appear to be moving for him. I think I'd be having my eye on a higher prize. I know that some people have mentioned there's 507 has been written on Thor's board, so maybe he goes for a 507 or maybe he goes for something greater. Certainly the way that 440 looked, I would think that there's probably more in the tank for him. So it'd be interesting to see what ends up happening. Does he stop at the 501 or does he go for more? Again, leave a comment in the box below. I'd like to know what you guys think. If he's going to stop at the 501 and just shut down shop, or if he'll hit a 501 and then maybe go for another attempt or something like that. That'd be interesting to see. That's it, guys. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? Drop in the chat box below. I'll be sure to respond. I appreciate you guys continuing to support me and the channel with the likes, the views, the subs, all that stuff, sharing with people that you know and I don't. means a lot and really helps the channel grow. If you've checked out a video or two and haven't joined the channel yet, I would appreciate it if you hit the sub button and then join the family, stick around for a while. It'd be nice to have you. And I want to extend a deep thank you for everyone that's joined the channel recently. Thank you for finding the channel, and thank you for sticking with us. Appreciate you very much. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, go for broke and take a stab at some new record, whether it's a world record or otherwise. It's never going to happen if you continue to find excuses. So you're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. And I hope that you guys continue to find the way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.